Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Lerner, and today I'm the lucky guy that Sports Art asked to host this discussion about inspiring our shared world. And I get to spend time with two friends and industry leaders I admire so much. Ruben Mejia is Sports Art's Executive Vice President of the Americas. Sports Art is a global fitness and medical rehabilitation equipment brand with headquarters in Taiwan and offices around the globe serving over 80 countries. We also have Colin Milner, founder and CEO of the International Council on Active Aging. The ICAA is a professional association that leads and defines the active aging industry with over 10,000 organizational members that own or operate over 40,000 locations in 57 countries. Ruben, we're going to start with you. Inspired performance and inspiring our shared world is something that Sports Art speaks so passionately about. Why don't you tell us a little more about that?
Sports Art was founded in 1977 by Paul Quill with the mantra of leaving the world a better place. And inspiring our shared world is integrated in all aspects of what we do and who we impact. We try to inspire health and well-being through our equipment because we serve a wide variety of individuals. Those wanting a high-intensity workout to those that have physical disabilities. We also try to inspire our community and world through sustainability. We have a line of fitness equipment that generates electricity that helps a gym offset their carbon footprint. And also we try to inspire our partnerships through relationship, service, and support.
Colin, I think it's undeniable that most look at you and the ICAA as the thought leaders in active aging and voice for ageism around the world. Why don't you tell us a little more about the ICAA?
Well, thank you, Craig. And number one is I'm thrilled to be here with both of you today. It's a great opportunity. In regards to the International Council on Active Aging, or ICAA as we're known, our goal is very simple, and that is how do we help change the way we age? And I think that the title of your initiative at Sports Art, the word inspire is at the heart of that. We look to inspire change by helping people to become healthier, fitter, and more engaged in life so that they can live a better, longer life. And that's really it in a nutshell. Of course, everything we do impacts that so that our focus is broad, but at the end of the day, it is all about making change happen and having an impact. And that's what ICAA has been about for the last 20 years, is impact.
Great. This partnership between Sports Art and the ICAA has been developing for some time. Ruben, why don't you talk a little more about the partnership from the Sports Art perspective?
Sure. It's a natural partnership that was meant to be. I mean, everything that Colin said is right in line with what we do as well. And this particular category is important to us because we want to make sure that fitness is available to everyone from all ages across the globe. We have medical and rehabilitation equipment that you often see in clinics, but the truth is that they're really good for just working out, even though they're more focused for physical therapy.
Now, a highlight of the partnership is certainly participation and sponsorship in Think Tank. Colin, the ICAA Think Tank is a great example of inspiring our shared world where you're bringing your top constituents and sponsors together to have a beautiful forum about really changing the world of active aging and improving the industry. So why don't you tell us a little more about Think Tank?
Well, the Think Tank has been around now for 18 years, and it came to fruition for a very simple reason, and that is to make change happen, but also to make change happen with those who can implement that change. So we invite a select group of industry thought leaders and organizations that have multiple locations around the country who can implement the recommendations of the think tank to come together to talk about what a specific challenge is and to create an actionable framework, whether it is a blueprint, whether it is a strategy, and to make sure that it is feasible, practical, universal, and implementable. And it is a wonderful opportunity to make change happen and engage those that are leading the industry in that change.
And this was the first year that Sports Art had a chance to participate. So, Ruben, why don't you tell us a little bit about that experience?
Well, we're really happy that we were allowed to participate, and I'm really proud of the sponsorship. This was probably one of my favorite events because even though I'm in sales, this was a non-sales event. It was basically a meeting of the minds, people sharing stories, people trying to figure out how we can reduce the impact of the labor shortage that everybody's experiencing globally. And one of my favorite things about this entire event was that there was absolutely no pressure between anybody, and we were just able to share ideas amongst everyone.
This employee shortage is a big deal for every category. Colin, what was some of the discussion and some of the great ideas that came out of it?
Well, I think the number one idea and the overall takeaway, Craig, was that the employee first focus and creating an employee first culture was front and center. In the past, the industry has all been about the resident first, but how can you focus on the resident first if you're not taking care of your employees? So some of the recommendations that came out of all of this was to make employee wellness a fundamental value that is offered to each and every employee, and to empower local leaders and staff to be more responsible, almost entrepreneurial in their way of addressing the local circumstances that are happening to run their organizations, while building a culture of trust with authentic communication and action to their team. Of course, what happens or what needs to happen to make this all occur is a shift in how human resources functions from transactional to transformational, and also to update the way we actually recruit and also retain our employees, which of course is a big shift for some organizations. Really prioritizing training, career development, and professional development is at the heart of all of this. And for some, we take that for granted, but that isn't always the case. We really need to prioritize professional development, and not just for the staff, but for the executives and the managers, and then to utilize technology to support this change and staff while we create and update the industry to a new revenue model. And those were some of the key elements that came out of all of this. But at the end of the day, it was about changing the culture to an employee first one as opposed to a resident first one.
Very powerful conversation. And Ruben, Sports Art's a pretty culture first organization. I'm sure it's exciting to be a part of this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. For as long as I can remember, we've kind of had that mentality long before it became mainstream. There's still a lot of businesses out there that have this mentality where the employees are just employees. But here at Sports Art, we like to make sure that everybody's part of the team, because when they're a part of the team, they understand what's happening, whether it's good or bad, and they have a little bit more sense of purpose. And it also ultimately leads to the employee being happier. And when the employee is happy, then that experience is going to rub off, or it's going to show to our customers. If our employee was not happy, then not only is that person going to hear that negative attitude, but they're also going to feel like they're not being treated in a way that they actually want. So we try to do little things to make sure that people want to come to work, and that they don't think this is just another job they have to show up to.
Hang on, you want happy employees?
Yeah, I think we all do, Colin. That's awesome. Think Tank was amazing, a great success, and I want to thank you because it's a pleasure to recognize how inspiring this partnership with you and the ICAA has been. But I also want to recognize how inspiring everybody that was in the room for the Think Tank was, because it's not often you can get that level of power and industry leadership in a room to drop egos and just come to the room with one goal, and that's to change the industry and make sure that we're advancing everything around active aging. So thank you both for a great time today, and we'll see you another time.